Hey guys, welcome back to Dad's Garage. First things first, remember to subscribe and hit that thumbs up and the notification bell so we can keep this good content coming to you. Today, I've got a very special friend of mine with me, Jason from Front Seat Driver.
Yes.
I've mentioned him on the channel many times. We are really good friends. We live about an hour away from each other, but somehow we end up meeting up to shoot videos about 3 times a month.
Yeah. We go out to eat, go do other things a whole lot more than that, though.
Yeah, that's true. But he has got my dream car. He owns it. So fresh off selling his Lamborghini, which I got to ride in before he sold it. But my real dream car is not the Lamborghini. It's this right here.
That was my dream car. This is my other dream car, but that was my ultimate dream car.
So this is a Corvette Z06, and what year is this one?
2017.
2017.
And it's a 3LZ, because you have a 1LZ, 2LZ, and 3LZ. It's the 3LZ.
And 3LZ, just a lot more equipment.
Yes. The only thing I don't have is a Z07 package, which gives you a little bit different suspension. It gives you the carbon ceramic brakes and a little bit of different aero, which I basically have now. But
that you've added.
Yes, I've added.
Gotcha. So Z06, 650 horsepower,
yep.
650 torque.
Correct.
Out of a supercharged
V8.
Wow. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I love the color. Some people are just not yellow people.
Yeah.
I love the yellow.
I love yellow too.
Especially with the black accents.
Yeah.
To me, it is just absolutely gorgeous. I love a white with black accents.
Yeah.
I love the yellow with black accents.
For me, my favorite color on the C7.
Back in 2000, I had a yellow Mustang GT with a special option package that had all the black accents, and it was a cool looking car in its day too.
Yeah.
So I fell in love. But my real love has always been the Corvette. So I fell in love with the Corvette back in, I believe it's 1974. My uncle had a 74 Corvette with side pipes. It was silver with side pipes.
Love those.
And somewhere I have a picture of me, standing out there next to this car at his wedding or the wedding practice or something like that. And that was kind of when I fell in love with the Corvette.
Yeah. And
never have looked back.
Pretty similar with me. Mine was the 1978 Indianapolis pace car. It was gray and black. It had the pace car stickers on the side, which was an option. I saw some of them without it, and I found out later that you could actually ask the dealership to put them on or leave them off, which for me, I would have never left them off.
Yeah.
I don't understand that, but whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody's tastes different. So.
Right, exactly. But yeah, this is such an awesome car, and these things are perfect for a racetrack.
Yeah.
Or, they're just so powerful that they can run quarter mile too if you want them to. I know these are 11-second cars from the factory with nothing. And then you can put them on a racetrack, so they're so multi-purpose.
Yeah.
Everybody on my channel knows that I love the Mopar stuff too. But you talk about the Hellcat. It's great at one thing, really. It's really great straight line.
Yeah.
And there's not much better than that in a straight line. This car will do everything.
Right.
And that's what's kind of cool about the Corvette.
So the first thing that was done to my car, and I don't even want to say it was done to my car because I didn't have anything to do with it. It came this way when I bought it, but is the Jake skull on the Stinger stripe. That is probably one of my favorite things, and I get so many people ask about it. Where did you get it? This and that. I know you can get it from GM. I didn't purchase it. The car came that way, but it was a huge selling point. I know that's dumb, but it was a huge selling point to me. I'd have bought it regardless, but I would have probably done that really quickly. But the first thing that I did was I took it to Cody at New Image Detail in Fort Worth, and I had him go ahead and paint correct the whole entire car because it was a 17, it wasn't brand new. It had little imperfections in the paint, which they're always going to have, even if they're brand new. Anyway, he did all of that, and he put expel, helicopter, but he expelled it, and then he ceramic coated it. And I will tell you, ceramic coating makes a huge difference when you wash your car. I actually never use a dirty washcloth because I always take one washing area, throw it to the side, get a new one. But when I dry it, rather than using a towel for the majority of it, I just use my leaf blower, and the water just flows right off. The next thing is, and I did this one more recently, but I had to replace the front splitter. I think these were definitely carbon fiber at one time, and the guy that owned it before me had scuffed it, so he had it painted in carbon flash. Didn't look fantastic, and it definitely didn't match the winglets on the side, so I went ahead and replaced it. And then I also put, from a company that's one of our sponsors, is Sliplow. I put Sliplow on underneath here, and I don't know, you won't be able to see it probably, but they're great at hitting, for if you're hitting curbs or something low, it will scrape that and not damage your front splitter, which is a huge selling point for me. But anyway, I did get this from ACS Composite. ACS Composite is a company that sponsors us, so we have a great working relationship with them. Their products are absolutely fantastic. They come, like we did last week when we did my wife's Camaro, the side skirts, they came out of the box flawlessly.
They were perfect.
They were immaculate, man. And I know from Corvette World, I'm really good friends with them, and they tell me all the time, Keith does, he's like, I get so much stuff to put on people's car that is junk. ACS does not make junk. This isn't a sales pitch for them. I'm not getting paid a nickel. It's just the truth. The other thing is that I added the winglets. So when I first bought this, it had what's called a stage 2 winglet. So it was just a small piece, but I really thought this made the car look wider and cooler, and it does serve a purpose, but honestly, I generally don't drive fast enough for that to be an issue. But it looks really, really good. That is also from ACS. And then also ACS, I had this is the fender extensions. Normally these are just a cheap plastic, which doesn't look that great. It doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look great. It certainly doesn't match all the other carbon flash items on the car. So ACS came out with this, and it has a built-in XL rock guard to keep the rocks from flying out, because these are pretty wide tires and they definitely throw out a lot of rocks. So that was a huge thing. The side skirts were the same. One thing that I loved about this one is I love the color contrast, and so this car came with black mirrors as opposed to the yellow mirrors. So I actually think that was a huge bonus. I just got lucky. It wasn't something that I did, but I got lucky on that. The other thing is with ACS, they have the rear extensions that are carbon flash, so they match all of the side skirts and everything else. So I installed those along with the rear XL rock guards. And here's the truth, with those XL rock guards, people are like, oh, those aren't necessary. No, they're very necessary if you drive with your friends, and if you care about your friends' cars, because these tires, again, they're 335s, they throw out a ton of rocks. I had a friend who the front of his car got beat up after a little drive session that a bunch of us had. His wrap was so beat up, he ended up having to rip it off. So they do throw out a lot of rocks. So to me, it's just more of a courtesy. It does not look right. So a lot of people are like, oh, you put all these aftermarket junk on your car. Everything that's on here, that in my opinion, is something that looks like it could have came from GM. I'm not going to just put some stick on, piece of junk. So I would never do that. I love the vent. The great thing is, if you have any Corvette owners out there that are watching this video, ACS actually makes this piece right here. The Stingray does not have it, and it looks kind of unfinished to me. So you can get those. The other thing that I added, and this is one of my absolute favorites. So this whole back section, this lower fascia, is the one that was on my Corvette Grand Sport that I owned prior to this. And I have my ACS diffuser fins here. I didn't want to buy new ones. They're not the cheapest product in the world, and they're kind of a pain in the butt to install. So I had them take this off of my Grand Sport and put it on my Z06. Then we took the one from the Z06 and put it on the Grand Sport. So my friend Dave out in Alabama now has the back end of his Z06 on his Grand Sport. Last thing that I can think of that I've done is, and I don't remember what they're called, but these little bottom pieces right here, we added those because normally it's just a yellow or whatever color paint that goes down, but we add these little bottom pieces. Honestly, they don't make a big difference on my car. They make it look a little beefier in the back, but Steve with his Stingray, when he put the XL rock guards on the back, and it took his smaller back end of his car and just made it look a little bit wider and a little bit beefier, and I was like so amazed at what a difference it made. I was like, I'm putting on my car anyway. So those are things that are all carbon flash, so that's why I said they all look like they come from the factory. So those are things that I absolutely love, and I'm super happy with this car. I literally absolutely love it. When the C8 came out, I would look at it in my driveway and I was just like, I can't switch this car for the C8 Stingray. Now, C8 Z06 might be a little different story, but for the C8 base, I couldn't make that switch. I just couldn't make it happen. The reason, though, I'll give you a quick little backstory that I switched from my Grand Sport. There was two reasons from the Grand Sport to the Z06 was because two reasons. One is that I wanted a manual. Man, driving around with Steve and a bunch of my other friends who had manuals, just that exhaust note, you know, whenever you're downshifting and you're the rev match kicking in, sounded so good. I couldn't replicate that with my automatic Corvette. The other thing was I wanted more horsepower. I know you talk about this all the time, Tim. You're like, I'm so horsepower obsessed. I'm like, no, that's Justin. But just you literally tell me I just have this obsession with horsepower. Well, I was selling the Lambo. Well, I was selling the Lambo, seemed like forever. Never pulled the trigger because I love the car so much. But changes in what I wanted to do with the money made it where it seemed like it was the right thing to do. So I wanted more horsepower, and then it just took me another year and a half to sell it. But I wanted to go from the 465 to 650 just to have that horsepower that I was losing by not having the Lambo anymore, because it was definitely more horsepower than the Corvette. So,
I love it. Can we take a ride?
Yeah, let's take a ride. But before we do that,
yep,
let's take the roof off.
Cool.
Let's talk about that. So I want to say and you can we'll show how we do it. So quickly before we go for a ride, I'm going to take the roof off this car. I love the target top on Corvettes. One of my big selling points, because you can have a convertible without having a convertible. So let's do this real quick. Now to remove it, this top you can do as one person because it is, I believe the weight of the roof is 12 pounds, but you just pull these out right here and push this button right here, and everything is ready to be lifted up and removed. And I did a video on this a long time ago, and I still get people going back and commenting and watching it because they're like, oh, thank you so much. I didn't know how to do it. Now, come over here real quick. Let me show you. You've got some little hooks on each side that these are going to hook into.
Ah, so they don't damage it.
That's right.
Nice.
And then the pin, you have these two little pins right here that will go into these slots right here, which I need to move this. And then, so now it's snug. It's not going anywhere. It's not sliding around while you're driving. One of the cool things about Corvettes is the little hideaway box right here. You press the screen button, it drops down. You keep your wallet, your gun. I believe a 9 will fit in here. Whatever. I know a lot of Corvette owners keep their gun in there.
I love it. That's one of my favorite things about the interior.
Absolutely. The little, it's really cool. And I did have a really big phone one time, and honestly, it got stuck in there. So that wasn't so great. But anyway, let's get moving. Oh, rev match right here. So whenever you're downshifting and you want to have the revs raised for when you're changing it to a lower gear, the car will do it for you right there with the rev match.
Good. This thing sits so low. That's the thing that shocked me. I didn't realize how low it really was.
It is very low.
It literally feels like kind of like a go-kart getting in and out of it.
Yep. And that's why I said when you get in it, and you will feel every bump.
I couldn't even hold the camera still. All that power jerked you back in the seat so hard, I can't even hold on to it.
And I will admit, I'm still paranoid driving this sometimes, just the power. All the little bumps. I didn't put it in sport mode. No. There we go, sport mode. You know, the funny thing is I was never, ever afraid punching it in the Grand Sport. And I don't think it was necessarily because it might have been the power that I have now versus what I had before that scared me, but I think a lot of it was it was an automatic, and I just let the car do what it does instead of you know, I get worried if I hit a gear wrong and it punch it too hard or something, and it was to get away, but we can't do anything on this road like
yeah, this road's a mess.
Yeah. That's the sound I love, though. I couldn't do that in the auto. driving in front of me, and I would hear that, and I would just get so angry. I was like,
So the base Corvette even the base Stingray even has the rev match.
yes.
Oh wow.
Yes, as long as it is a manual, it has its rev match. And so, yeah, his, I mean, because his is like a legit base, and yep, he's got it. Now, you just can't beat the sound, though. I mean, and this is stock, so.
I don't have the camera pointed over there, but that was 86 in a flash.
Yeah, I know. It's really funny because sometimes I'll be driving and I'll go under an overpass and I'll punch it, and I just look down and I just punch it briefly just to get that awesome noise, and I look down and I'm doing like 98 miles an hour. I'm like, wow, that was like so fast. I mean, I was only doing like 60 and all of a sudden I'm doing like 98. I mean 55 or whatever the speed limit is. That's
right, of course.
Yes. Yeah. Guys, ride's very rough, but the Lamborghini really rode rough. That thing was.
Yeah, this does ride smoother than the Lambo.
Yeah, but I also drove that basically in track mode all of the time.
Oh, gotcha.
Because the gear shifting in that was just better and smoother in track mode, which was called Corsa mode in that car.
I hope this video is not too bumpy, but I'm doing the best I can without it attached to anything.
When you're 3 inches or so off the ground, it is just kind of how it goes.
Yeah, it is what it is, they say.
Yup.
It's got so much torque, I was trying to keep the phone from smashing my nose in.
I know. To admit it, I let a lot of kids sit in the Lambo, and I tried to take them for rides if their parents were around and said it was cool. Because having a nice car, I don't care how nice, whether it's a Mustang, whether it's a Corvette, whether it's a Ferrari, whether it's a Lambo, if kids like it, I feel like you should let them, because I know when I was a kid, I was a huge car fanatic, and I rarely got to even see them, let alone ride in one, and it would have made my year riding in some of those cars. So I feel it's our obligation to keep kids excited about cars, and if they want to look at it, sit in it, whatever, we should do that for them.
I feel the same.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you've definitely led by example on that.
I still go back and watch the video with Curtis quite often, because just to see somebody in their dream car,
Yeah,
smiling ear to ear for the entire drive is just,
absolutely.
it is absolutely worth it. Alright, so that wraps it up on the Z06. Again, subscribe please. Front Seat Driver, awesome channel. Lots of Corvette content and some other stuff too. And then make sure you hit that thumbs up and subscribe on this video too. We'll catch you next time right here on Dad's Garage.